And I believe we are now here live. What's going on, family? It's your boy JT, the corporatepreneur. And man, I'm up. It's Friday night. Actually Saturday now. We just hit what 12:05. So it's Saturday morning. We here. I just wanted to come and bless the timeline real quick. It's been a while since I went live. Y'all, I have been in the lab working to get better for you, clients, my current clients that I have, clients to come in the future. And man, I really learning my craft, learning what I can do to help more people get to the closing table, to purchase their first homes, invest in real estate, as well as even for my investors, right? Who want to leverage funding, right? The different alternative methods to get your hands on real estate in that avenue. I've been putting some things in practice behind the scenes, and I can't wait to share that with you guys. Also, too, my wife and I, we've been on our own journey, right? Like I've got a couple real estate deals going on right now, looking to add a couple more properties and different things like that to the portfolio. So not only is this something that I help other people do or I teach, but I actually live it. We do this ourselves as well as as an investor, right? So when you come and work with me, one of my classes, one of my events, whatever it is, just know that I'm actually out here doing the things that I'm teaching as well. So with that being said, you guys, like I just wanted to come live real quick, bless the timeline. I'm right now streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and I believe we're on Instagram as well. Let me click this here. Okay, yeah, there we go. We got Instagram up and going as well. So yeah, just want to talk a little bit about real estate. Okay, just some of the things that I've seen right now, kind of the what do you call that? The state of the union right now in real estate. We've got the NAR changes that are about to take place in Illinois. They're already in place in Indiana, and I'm not sure wherever you guys may be watching from how this is going to how things are panning out in your particular markets as it pertains to realtors and um, buyer and seller agreements, right? So we've got that going on. We've got interest rates, right? Interest rates are dropping across the nation. I believe as it stands right now, a 30-year fixed interest rate is now at pretty much 6.5%. Um, that is the lowest that it's been, I believe, over the last 2 years, roughly. A year ago, we were still in the sevens around this time. So to be able to, I believe, yeah, I don't want to misspeak on that, but I know that at the beginning of the year we were at around 7%. Um, Correction there. But for us to be at 6.5% right now, I know that means a lot to a lot of buyers in the marketplace. One thing I want people to be conscious of is that when interest rates do drop, when interest rates do fall, yes, that is a time where you can essentially purchase and you can purchase a home and you can have a lower payment. But also, because interest rates drop, more buyers flood the marketplace. With more buyers flooding the marketplace, that means that home prices can increase. People will give more over asking. People won't ask for closing cost credits. Things become extremely more competitive for buyers in the marketplace. One of the strategies that we always talk about is to marry the house and date the rate. Right now, you're probably like, man, what does that mean to marry the house and date the rate? It means that you get the house that you want, that you like now, the house that you can afford. You get your hands on it now, and when the rates drop, like they're doing right now, and they'll probably continue to drop over these next few weeks. We got the election, different things going on. Um, as those rates drop, you already have the home that you want. You don't have to compete with any other buyers to get it. You can simply just refinance to lower your monthly payment. Now, when you don't do that and you enter the market essentially now, as I mentioned before, there's more competition. There's more people who are going to drive those home prices up because they're flooding the market too. They've been waiting, sitting on the sidelines too for this moment. And you'll be competing against people who have maybe more cash and they don't need down payment assistance and they won't ask for all these different concessions to get a deal done. So not only is it more competitive with more buyers entering into the marketplace, you're going to be competing against stronger buyers, right? So just something to be mindful of as we're in this real estate market. If you're someone who needs down payment assistance, different things of that nature, it will behoove you to, like I say, marry the house, date the rate. You get in there quick. Your market, you're not in the position to let the market be extremely competitive, right? Because typically, if you're trying to go for down payment assistance, you don't have the resources, the capital to compete, to put down your down payment by yourself, right? In order to get into a home. And as some of these different offers come in, some down payment assistance programs, they take a while to actually clear. They come with different appraisals. Some sellers may not want to deal with that. So it's just something to be conscious of as you enter into the marketplace with rates continuing to drop. Now, for those of you who have already purchased, over the past, 2 years, maybe I would say, especially if you purchased over 6 months or so or more, you've been making mortgage payments for the last 6 months. We have special programs in place. Okay. I believe my link, if it's not in the bio, if it's not in the comment section of this live here, we can ultimately save you money with a refinance. If your interest rate is at 6.5% or above, we have special pricing for FHA home buyers and VA home buyers. It's a VA and FHA. This is a government program. We have special buy down rates that we can offer you to refinance your home. Okay. There was a lady who had come to us and our team. She purchased a home about a year ago. She was at 7%. We were able to get her down to 6.5. And by getting her down that 1 percentage point, we were able to save her roughly $250 a month on her mortgage payment. Okay. So if that's you right now, you purchased over the last year and a half, 2 years, your interest rate is at 6.5% or higher. This will be a great time to refinance if you are an FHA or VA buyer. Okay. And the beautiful thing about this program is also too, you can still maintain the same length term of your loan. So typically when you refinance, your loan restarts, you reset, you'll have another 30-year mortgage put back on that you'll be making payments on. But with this refinance program, we can give you credit for the 1 year, 2 years that you've been making payments, and we can refinance your loan as a 28-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage. So you're not necessarily starting from scratch. Okay. So these are a lot of the different programs and offerings that I have available as a broker that I want you guys to be able to take advantage of. Okay. So we got the refinances out there. We got the interest rates, that part of it. And then another thing that I've been seeing a lot of is credit, right? I want to talk a little bit about credit and how to really put yourself in the best position as possible. Now, I know these things are simple, but I feel like they get overlooked in the home buying process, right? I always tell folks the best credit repair you can participate in is one of your own where you pay people back and you pay people back on time. That's the best thing you can do. And if you do have the missteps or the mistakes, because life happens to everybody, we want to put as much distance between your last derogatory account as possible. So if you had a late payment, hopefully that late payment is at least a year to 2 years old, right? We don't want any recent derogatory accounts because that can significantly impact and hurt our chances of pursuing home ownership. So that's the new collections, that's new late payments, anything derogatory. We want to have the greatest distance from that derogatory event because that's the lesser, it lessens the impact to your credit report, right? So that's it kind of from a derogatory standpoint. I made a post about this earlier. Be careful with who you are co-signing with, right? If you're co-signing for other people, last thing you want to do is have them not make their payments. That negatively impacts them, but it also negatively impacts you. I have a one of my clients I was working with right now, co-signed for a vehicle. The vehicle is in a bankruptcy with the other person who she co-signed the vehicle for. So the it's going to be taken care of on that person's credit report because because she's also a co-borrower, that negative account that she signed for that automobile is still showing up as a negative on her account, and she has to address it as a co-borrower, right? So granted, she was a co-signer for someone else. Somebody else put it in bankruptcy on their credit report, but because they're each carrying the debt on their credit profiles, now she has to address it as well. And if she doesn't want to file bankruptcy, she has the opportunity. She can either pay it, she can ignore it, but it's still going to negatively impact her credit until she addresses it because she co-signed for the debt. Okay, so I always tell folks be careful with co-signing for people. Another thing, another situation. This happened recently. Another client authorized user accounts. Okay, one of my clients, she had an authorized user account. The person who was the authorized user, they died. They passed away, and they had a $12,000 balance that charged off on this credit card that this lady was an authorized user for. And because this person is deceased, now she's trying to go through this battle of, hey, how can I get my name off of this account? Because it's negatively impacting my personal credit. All right. This is something else for people who like to buy trade lines, or we use the trade lines, different family and friends, kind of put you on there. These are some of the gray areas of the fine things that you should be thinking about that you want to try to avoid, before you take advantage of some of these strategies to kind of help boost and build your credit. All right. So if you are going to do an authorized user, make sure you have some type of connection to where you can reach that person, if something like this does happen. And essentially, you will want to be removed from the account anyway, especially if you bought this on a third party site, right? Now, if it's a family or friend, you can stay in the account. But if you bought it from someone else, one of these different sites, you will want to make sure you are removed just to avoid anything like this happening to you in the future as well. Also, from a credit perspective, um, it is extremely important to have the right type of accounts reporting, the right type of accounts reporting on your credit. All right. Revolving accounts are always strong, are always good accounts to have, because they show how you can manage different debt instruments, right? By you having a revolving trade line, your credit card that reports every month, your utilization, your payment history, all that is good history, good data, for lenders and for underwriting systems to capture, to gauge your level of risk. Okay. So credit cards are great, whether it's a secure card or, you have one with a preset, spending limit, whatever the case may be. Credit cards are always good to have. It's always important to keep those balances at 10% or less. Um, I believe, I don't know, somebody just sent me a message. It's late. But at 10% or less, because that's going to significantly help boost your credit score. When you carry a high balance on these credit cards over that 30%, that's when we start to see your scores taper out, and it starts to negatively impact your credit profile. All right. So ideally 10% or less. I know in the FICO apps and different places they say 30%, but if you really want to have your profile, you really want your profile to be strong and your scores to improve, you want to be at 10% or less utilization. Another thing about credit is that, guys, when you come to apply for a mortgage or a loan with any broker, with anybody you're dealing with, you guys should not have account that you should not have negative accounts in dispute status. Okay. Negative accounts should not be in dispute status. So if you've got a charge off, if you got late payments, whatever the case may be, um, and those accounts are currently in disputed status because you're going through credit repair or whatever the case may be, that gives us a false sense of what your credit score actually is. When you put account in dispute status, the score that's generated essentially skips over that account that's in dispute status. It omits it. It doesn't factor it into your score. I see a lot of applications when we start our pre-approval process with people who have accounts in dispute, and they'll say, "Oh man, you know what? My credit score is a 700, or it's a 680, or it's whatever." But that's a false read because they've got disputed accounts that aren't factored into the actual credit score. So before we can continue in any process, I tell all my clients, I'm like, "Hey, I did a soft pull in your credit. We got these accounts in dispute. We need to take them out of dispute." Now, the only accounts that we can essentially ignore will be accounts that have a zero balance or if they're like medical collections. So those counts typically we can overlook based on the FCRA and Congress and what they put in place in terms of credit. Medical collections we're able to ignore, right? Um, but outside of that, everything else, you should not have any accounts in dispute status. Um, what is this? Yeah, you shouldn't have any accounts in dispute status. All right. Also from a credit perspective, what else do I have from a credit perspective for you guys? We talked a little bit about, oh yeah, other thing with accounts to have. Um, your rental history is important. That's a trade line that's low hanging fruit. If you've been paying your rent on time, that is a trade line that could help strengthen your profile and help build a strong case to help you get into a home, especially when dealing with underwriters. If you got 12 months of rental payments or more, and you're not late, um, that's a very strong impact to have on your personal credit, and it lets lenders know that, hey, if I've been diligent, if I've been faithful enough to pay my rent every single month on time, I'll probably keep this behavior up when I'm a homeowner, right? When I'm now in a home as well. So just to kind of give you a little bit of the mind of what the underwriter is going to be looking for, um, consistent payments, right? Consistent housing payments that strengthens the profile. I think another thing too is that also when you report your rent, you can go to Boom Pay, Rental Karma. I believe a self lender, they also report rental payments now as well. Um, that also can add some credit age. That can give you a trade line. I believe you can backdate your rent up to 2 years. So that can be a huge help in terms of strengthening your profile, especially for those of you who have thin credit, or maybe you came out of a bankruptcy, or you came out of some type of derogatory situation. You reporting your rent payments can be a huge help to help you strengthen and solidify your personal credit profile. All right. So we talked about the revolving accounts, the secured cards. You can do the boost accounts. Now, you can use the utilities, but sometimes with those utility accounts, the way they report, it's almost like it's a new balance every single month that you have to have paid off. So it can kind of get a little wonky when calculating your DTI. Sometimes the utility payments, they don't help as much because of that. But definitely for your rent, you want to make sure you have that reported. Another thing I want you guys to be mindful of is going to be your afterpay, your Sezzles, your Affirm. Um, those now have to be calculated depending on how much debt you have, how many items you're financing, whatever the total dollar amount is. Depending on what that number is, we now have to factor some of those other accounts into your debt to income. So I always encourage people, if you can, pay for your trips outright, okay? Because now the affirms, the settles, the afterpays, if we see that on your bank statements, or if that stuff comes back on your credit report, we have to factor that into your DTI. And the last thing you'll want to do is have your dreams of home ownership be pushed aside because you got a bunch of stuff like on layaway or pay as you go, I guess you can say. All right. So that's something to be mindful of there. Um, who else? What else? I saw talked a little bit about interest rates, talked a little bit about credit, different things we're looking for. Um, authorized users. What else? What else? What else? So now let's talk a little bit about strategy. Okay. And I kind of touched on strategy a little bit when I said, marry the house, date the rate, whatever the case may be. Um, I made a post about this a couple days ago, and I said that um, home ownership is not the finish line; it's the starting point. It's you just now getting into the game, and I say that from the standpoint of now that I'm on this side of things. I've been to the closing table as a mortgage broker. I've been there as an investor, and I've been there as a first-time home buyer. And real estate is extremely powerful, and it's more powerful than I really thought it was. You would see people making videos of talking about, oh, get into real estate, but I didn't truly understand what was possible or the benefits of real estate until I got in this space and strategy, right? So right now, me personally, I'm in a space where I've got upwards of 150,000 dollars in equity in my home that I can leverage. I can do it in the form of a cash out refinance as rates continue to kind of drop a little bit. My rate was already a little bit high to begin with in the first place. Um, so that's one avenue. And then we've also got the opportunity to look at doing a HELOC against our house to leverage that to, purchase real estate there. But um I don't know what other investment or what other thing I could have done to where I would have gained $150,000 in potential, assets over a 2 year or 3 year period, right? And actually, it was a 2 year period, right? To gain $150,000 in almost like a 2 year period, those are pretty nice returns, and that was all through the power of home ownership, being able to build or establish equity. And now I can then take that equity to go invest in real estate, which can generate me more money, right? Which can allow me to invest in other asset classes. I could purchase a business, right? SBA funding, right? There's a combination of things that I can do, but I would not be able to do this if I had not purchased a home, right? And that's just kind of what I want to plant that seed for people. That it's not just about, hey, getting a house, right? Like I said, this is, now that you're in the game, you want to establish legacy, you want to build wealth for you and your family. I'm sure there are other vehicles and ways to do it, but everyone needs a place to stay. You got to live somewhere. So why not you purchase a piece of real estate, leverage that real estate so that way you can do other things, you can fund other things, other ventures down the road. Now, because of a combination of the equity that we have, um, building out that strong credit profile, we've been able to buy other properties. All right. I've got a multi unit that we're working on right now, 4 unit in East Chicago. Um, that's going to be available soon. We're going to be able to provide housing for people there. We've got a spot in Gary we purchased last year. We've got a tenant in there. That place is a blessing. We did some light work and rehab in there. We've got another flip in Gary right now. That one's going to be available at the end of this month. So, man, just a lot of things that we've been able to do by just jumping in and purchasing our first home and having that be an anchor or a gateway for us to get our hands on more real estate outside of that. In addition to that, I talked strategy, business credit and business funding. Y'all, I've been in the business credit and business funding space almost 3 years now, right? And it started off with me just kind of teaching and talking about structure. Hey, this is how you structure your business, right? Get your net 30s, your net 60s. Then the game changed a little bit. Then it became more so about personal guarantees, right? And how to get your hands on 0% interest, and if you're trying to get the loans and lines of credit, you need the cash flow. It's really different levels to this. But, even with that information, being able to, for one of the rehabs that we're doing right now, being able to get $65,000 at 0% interest to pay the down payment for the property, um, front the draws for the flip, all the rehab and everything like that. And within the next 60 days, be able to put that bad boy back on the market, having spent $0 out of my own pocket, but this deal is going to potentially make us $85,000 in profit once we sell it. Or if we could keep it cash out refinance. Let's say we may keep 65 of it, right? Whatever the case may be. But being able to do that, being able to do a move, do a play like that, one, just because I had good credit, I understood business structure, I understood business funding. I was able to position my business to go and get 65,000 at 0% interest and use that to purchase the property and rehab it. Um, that's powerful. That is powerful. And even me being on the lending side and learning a little bit more about hard money and how this stuff works, like you could, if you got the down payment, you could literally do a DSCR loan, okay? Um, and you can purchase single family homes And as long as the ratio is right with regard to what you're paying with your mortgage and the rent that it could generate, you pay your down payment and your closing costs, you can buy homes. Some may be cash flowing already, but you can buy homes and rent them out. And that could be the way that you build your real estate portfolio. It's just by buying up a bunch of rental properties. Because it's not necessarily based off your income. It's based off the cash flow of that actual property. All you need is the funds to be able to go and get it. And I know some of you may be saying, "Oh, well, man, hey, maybe I don't have the funds." Well, getting your credit together is extremely important, right? So that way you can leverage your credit to do it. You can also leverage strategic partnerships. Now, I'm gonna say this here: in the communities that I grew up in, there were people who did not always make an honest living, and they had cash. Some of these hard money programs now, they do not require funds to be sourced or seasoned. So if you know someone who's got mattress money, right? And I'm not, this is for educational purposes only, but if you have a partner who has cash, who has capital, um, you guys can come into business together. One person provides the credit, the other person provides the cash. Funds don't have to be sourced or seasoned. As long as you can close and you can come up with your down payment, you can acquire real estate. You can acquire some property, and you can literally rinse and repeat that process as many times over as you want. When I saw that, the light bulb went off for me, and I said, "Hey, we could really keep doing this thing. We can build a portfolio and truly buy our freedom." We got to the point to where we were sitting down and we said, "Hey, how many homes would it take for us to truly retire?" Right? Like, these are the questions, these are the conversations that you can start having with yourself, with your partner, whoever, whatever you want your life to look like. You can do that by leveraging real estate. Right now, I'm sure there are other asset classes, other ways you can buy businesses. There's so many different things you can do, right? But I'm just talking about real estate right now. um that's a strategy or a way for you to buy your freedom. And you can say, "Hey, how much money do I need to clear a month in profit for me to, hey, retire my job, retire my mom, my spouse, whoever, right? Live comfortably." You know, is it 25 doors? Is it 15? Is it 10? Whatever that number is, how much money you ever need to generate. Um, think about how you could potentially buy that with real estate. So, and that's just kind of me letting you in a little bit about the planning that I'm having internally, with my family, the things that we're talking about. Is like, okay, now that we're in this space, right? Now that we see what things could be, how many doors do we need for us to buy our freedom? Right. And how long would it take us to do that, to accomplish that? Right. So just putting it out there from a strategy perspective, the different things that you can do. Uh, of course, there's also fix and flips as well. It's another layer of hard money. You can buy distressed properties that need some work. And if the uh, ARV value is there, you can make minimally your 30 grand plus off the deal. You can rinse and repeat that as well. You can flip houses. You can come into the market, use hard money, and with the hard money, they'll tell you if they're going to fund 85%, 100%, whatever the percentages of the rehab. And you can flip properties that way. You can pay off the hard money loan. You can cash out, refinance, or roll it over into a conventional loan. And if you do refinance, you take the equity out. You got that money. You don't have to pay taxes on it because you're not selling it. You can keep it as a rental, have your tenants paying rent, throw them on Section 8, whatever the case may be. And now you've got a property that's cash flowing, and you took the equity out. So you've got the cash and you don't have to pay taxes on it. Right. As a matter of fact, with this house that we've got in Gary right now, we're trying to decide what's the best move going to be for us. Do we just actually flip it, sell it? You got capital gains tax you got to be, on the lookout for. We could probably do a 1031 exchange to push it off, but it may behoove us to refinance, do 80% LTV, leave the rest in there, put a tenant in there. We'll take the cash that we can take and we'll go do the next deal. Right. So there's multiple ways to do this. There's multiple ways to get involved in real estate. I'm just hoping that I'm having this conversation to spark something in you. Like, I want the light bulb to go up to say, "Hey, maybe I can do this. Hey, maybe I can get in the game. Maybe I need to try to do this. Like get off the things and get in the game. And I say this because um I don't it's nothing like getting tricked out of your position, right? Like there's so much fear mongering and scare tactics about whether it's even buying real estate, investing in real estate. Oh, the market's going to crash, whatever the case may be. And people miss out. People miss out. They stay on the sidelines, and they don't get in the game. And we talk about these wealth gaps and how they get wider and wider as other people continue to take action. Other groups continue to take action, um, while folks are just sitting on the sideline. So if you're watching this video, if you're seeing this is your sign to get you some real estate. This is your sign to any strategy or any way you want to go about it, whether it's hard money, whether it's fix and flip, whether it's tax sale properties. Get your hands on some property or some land. um, I'm telling you, you won't regret it. It's an asset class that is not going anywhere, right? And like I said, there needs to be more people who own some stuff. I see a lot of people who are upset with landlords and renting different things of that nature. Yo, it's time to get your credit together, get your income together, so that way you can start making some moves. And it really boils down to three things, and I'll kind of share this. This kind of goes with what our pre-approval process looks like. But really, these three buckets are the lifeline for leveraging your credit to access any type of capital, whether it's for real estate or even on the funding side. Okay. So it's the CIA, it's your credit, your income, and your assets, right? We got to have solid credit. One of the things that we're looking for when it pertains to credit, of course, you want to have the strongest score as possible. If you can be in the 700s, that is phenomenal. Okay. 680 or above, that can get you in the game. 720 or above, you're getting some of the best rates and best pricing that there is in the marketplace. All right. Like that's really where you want to be. But 680 can get you in the game. Okay. Um, Outside of that, you want to have some product will require you to have no derogatory accounts, right? Um, I know for some of the hard money lenders, it's no charge offs, no collections. You can't have any unsettled debt, so you have to have those addressed. Now, if you're a traditional home buyer, if you're buying your first home, a collection, charge off, those things can negatively impact you, but it won't necessarily disqualify you for home ownership. We do have some workarounds and some guidelines to where we can still get you to a home, even if you have some of those things on your credit report. But essentially, credit, right? You want to have your credit be as strong as possible, and we want to put as much distance between your last derogatory account as possible. We're looking for behavior change as a lender and as an underwriter. We want to see if, hey, we know life happened back here. But what have you done since then? Have you been able to make on time payments? If so, great. That strengthens your case. Income. You got to have some type of consistent income, depending on which type of products we're going for. As I mentioned for the DSC, as I mentioned before, for the DSCR loans, those are going to be based off the cash flow of the property, and it's not necessarily tied to your income. So, but if you're looking for uh, some of the other products, if you're trying to be purchase your second home or you're a first time home buyer, your income is going to be extremely important. We're going to need to see the last 2 years of your income. If you're a W-2 employee and if you're a business owner, we're going to need to see those tax returns, right? And show us your schedules to see what you've written off. I made a video about it earlier today. Do not write off all of your income. It's okay sometimes to pay a little bit of taxes. All right. It's par for the course. It's the cost of doing business. Even if you owe, it's okay to owe a little bit because we need to show that income. If you don't show the income, it'll be harder to get approved for a home and a price point that in which you want to stay in. Or it may be even difficult to get access to the type of funding that you're hoping to get if you've written off all of your income. So it's okay to pay a little bit of taxes because we got to show some income, a 2-year history of income with no significant dips or changes. If you do have significant dips and changes greater than 20%, now we're going to trigger greater scrutiny from underwriters. They may make us take averages and they may make us only focus in on your most recent income and how you're trending and where you're expected to finish year to date. You could have made six figures the year before, but if you've only made 50,000 this year or 25,000 this year to date, they would essentially um, downgrade your income or your buying power based on the hours and the trajectory and the trend that you're currently on to work for that year that we're in, right? And so we want to avoid that. We want people to maximize their income and their buying power. We want you to keep as consistent of an income and work history as possible. No dramatic drop offs from year over year. I did have a client one time, and you know, made six figures one year. Next year came back. She's worked about 60 grand less. When it came to the pre-approval process, we had to give the pre-approval based off the current year-to-date income and not that previous income of six figures. So these are different things that you don't want to run into. So go to work, right? Keep working, right? Um, and then assets, right? So assets are what type of cash, what type of investments, what do you have on hand, right? Whether you're looking for business funding or funding to purchase a home on financial applications for some of these loans, these lines of credit, they want you to list out your assets. They want to see what your remaining balance is, how much equity you have in it. All those things strengthen your profile and ultimately get you access to money. On the personal side, if you're a home buyer, right, whether it's your second home or your first home, assets are going to help you strengthen the profile from the standpoint of, hey, this is the money that's needed to do the deal. Every lender uses what we call an automated underwriting system, right? AUS. And in this AUS, we look at your credit, we look at your income, we look at your assets, and we put all of this into the system, and it's going to spit out an approval for us. It's going to let us know, hey, the risk factors that we see on this file, we like it, so we're going to approve it. Or, you know what, we don't like some of these risk factors. And sometimes when we do hypothetical situations as a lender, we'll tweak and say, hey, would this person get approved if they had $3,000, $5,000 in their savings account? We're able to run those scenarios. And that's how sometimes we can tell you, hey, look, we can get the deal done, but you're going to need to save 5 grand. You're going to need to save 7,000. You're going to need to have X amount in reserves, because that's what the system is telling me based on your overall risk profile, what you need to have in order to get this deal done. Okay. So assets are extremely important. All right. So with that being said, y'all, that's really all I've got. I wanted to come shoot a quick video. I've been working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes. All right. We've got the baby coming here in less than 30 days. As I mentioned to you guys before, I got multiple projects going on right now. I got a multi-unit. I got this flip going on. A lot of stuff, man. We about to, yeah, essentially I'm about to add 5 doors, right? So this will be what? One, two. So this will be 6 doors within 12 months, right? So we adding 6 doors within 12 months. So it's been a crazy year. I'm still an active dad. I've been coaching stuff, my daughter, still doing stuff in the pharma world, right? Like I still maintain a day job as well, right? So I got a lot of hats and a lot of irons in the fire. But I'm working, I'm grinding, I'm building, I'm learning to be better for my clients. So if you stayed and you watched this video for any amount of time, I want to be your lender, right? The Bible says you have not because you ask not. Well, I'm asking for it. I want your business. I want to be your lender. So whether you are a first time home buyer, I want to help you get to the closing table. I've been in your shoes. Okay. Whether you are an investor, all right. I'm an investor as well. I've been in your shoes. I want to help you get to the closing table. We've got some great products for hard money, or DSCR loans. If you want to go that route, I got you. Give me a call. And if you want to refinance, right? As I mentioned earlier, we've got this great program right now. If you are an FHA buyer, FHA or VA buyer, you've been making mortgage payments over the last 6 months, and your interest rate is at a 6.5% or higher. We have a streamlined refinance program available right now, and it's giving me some extra leeway to help you with your interest rate. As I mentioned before, we had a lady who came in at 7% interest rate. She purchased her home last year. We were able to knock her down a full percentage point, and that saved her roughly $250 a month on her mortgage. That could be you. Okay. That could be you. All right. So, with that being said, that's all I have. I'll probably leave this video up if you guys want to come back and watch it. I'll be dropping some more content the rest of this week. Like, I really want to have some fun with this mortgage stuff, y'all. Like, if you're a realtor and you see this, like, let's collab, right? I know you may have other lenders that you work with, but they not me, But outside of that, no, I really do want to collab with more realtors. Let's make some fun and engaging and educational content, like, right? Like, I got a lot of great ideas. I want to help you promote your listings. Um, I want us to have some fun. Let's make an impact. Let's really make a difference in this space. A lot of people are lost. A lot of people need guidance, and I really want to work with some good professional people who truly care about their clients, who truly want to help people get into homes, to where it's not just another number and it's not just a check. And I know we all want to, we get into this stuff, man. We want to make money, right? Like, that's a given. We all want to make money doing what we're doing, helping people. But I want to work with people who truly have a heart for people, who truly want to educate, who truly want to give excellence and good service, right? Like that's what I'm on. Like, there's so many people who just roll out of bed. Like, this industry is like so unregulated. Like, and maybe it's because I've come from I got a corporate background. Like, so there's the etiquette, there's decorum, there's a way you communicate. There's so many soft skills that I've learned that I'm ready to bring to people in this real estate space that they've been missing. People have been getting experiences that are absolutely terrible, but they don't know because they just think this is the status quo. This is just how it is. But, like, no, man, like, it's some trash real estate professionals, like, on the lender side, on the realtor side, on attorney, like, you name it, it's trash all over the place, right? So people need to they deserve to see and feel what excellence is like, what professionalism is like, and I pride myself on being able to deliver that for my clients, and I want you guys to experience that as well. So, my link is attached somewhere, either in my bio, or in the comment section, wherever you guys are watching this video. And man, I can't wait to be a part of your real estate journey. So, yeah, until next time, I will talk to you soon.